matchup. So we obviously casted this one as one of the opening matches of this group. But here it is as the decider match as well. In the top right-hand corner, the blue Zerg player. This is Serral. He is up against the red Protoss in the bottom left corner of the map. It is herO. So, a fresh best of 3 and intrigued as to how things will start out here, because obviously, like I say, we saw these two playing the other day as well, and definitely played a very interesting series. We'll see Serral opting for an expansion pretty early on. Nothing too wild about that. Obviously notices he can get the natural expansion down. There was no probe there to block the third, so that's obviously a good little bonus. Get that down straight away. And yeah, I mean a situation here where they played the other day. There was a mixture of builds. It was a little bit of aggressive adept, and there was a little bit of attempted sky toss, and yeah, herO definitely kept it very interesting. It was a 2-1 in favor of Serral in the earlier match they played. We'll see if herO can get his revenge in the, well, what is often called the revenge match, right? So, get into this and see how we will do. Nexus drops down, Gateway coming up at the front. As that comes online, obviously we see now a Cyber Core able to start at the front as well. It's just going to get that underway. A couple drones, hatch gas, cool, everything building. Obviously, a big part of this game is going to be waiting to see just what exactly herO opts for. I mean, in this entire series, really just waiting to see what herO opts for game by game. You can imagine that the Zerg side of things is going to be a bit more reactionary, unlikely to be kind of aggressive before you know what the Protoss is doing. So, yeah, our first steps in each of these games is pretty much going to be, hey, herO, are we going to drop a Stargate? Are we just going to play straight Eclairs? We're going to play gateways into some kind of tech. You know, his options are clearly, you know, quite heavily open. We've seen that from the previous games that have been played by him in this group, so yeah, the options are really there. We can do many of these things in many different ways, I feel like, so yeah, a fun bit of time figuring out what exactly it's going to be each time. Now, this is going to be a Stargate. Now, even the Stargate stuff, obviously, you know, you see oracles and you go from there, etc., has been kind of normal for a while, but herO's been playing like a Void Ray into all sorts of things. He's playing triple Void Ray in one of the games against Serral. He actually killed off for a 4th base of Serral, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mixing up my matchup. So, yeah, very possible that you see a Void Ray opening here as well. Something else he's just been experimenting with and having some success with. And, I mean, I've not seen Void Rays really at all since... I'm trying to think. I was saying this the other day. It's just not really been a thing. And even just one Void Ray as an opening is definitely still a rarity. And that alone is going to be our starting point, apparently. So, Void Ray starts on up here. And that will be producing. Ready into go, go, go as a couple queens come out of the side of Serral. And just going to be seeing our Zergling speed on the way in. A few drones are producing. And yeah, just going for this Void Ray to finish up now. As the Void Ray completes, this is my real question. Do we see another one? Because like I say, he built a few Void Rays the other day and it was like, whoa, really, what are you doing, herO? That is absolutely wild. If he just builds the one into an Oracle, honestly not that weird. It's when he builds the multiple that I was a bit like, whoa, what are we doing? It's a little bit wild. He does come out, he kills the first Overlord. Of course, this is great for denying Overlord vision. So Serral is going to be very limited on his scout, and he's not going to be able to see what's going on very easily at all. It's going to be a 2nd and 3rd Stargate. Wow, so this is really going hard on the Stargates. This is actually very akin to what MaxPax was doing against Serral in the winners match. Just triple Stargate straight up into +1 air weapons, and it's just going to go masses of Phoenix. This is exactly what MaxPax did to take the first game, I believe, off of Serral. It was Cosmic Sapphire, if I'm not mistaken. And, well, that's obviously kind of wild, right? It's just going to be masses of Phoenix, and if Serral doesn't see this coming, it's very plausible he takes a ton of damage before it's, you know, really something he can kind of do anything about. And from there, he's just playing a losing game throughout, and maybe there's ways to draw himself back into it, but it's 100% going to be difficult. It's absolutely meant to be, in, you know, at this point, in his opponent's favor, right? So, see how this goes. The feelings, peeling away, peeling to the sides. Overlord is setting up, and that one Void Ray currently out to the far left as our Phoenix numbers get higher in the middle of the main base. Obviously, you want to try and deny the vision here. Serral even invested into Overlord speed to try and maybe get a scout as to what exactly is going on. He's played this really well with this Overlord dodging back away from the Void Ray, and now coming through, sneaking by, using this Overlord speed wonderfully, and it looks as though Serral is just sick of dying to silly things today, so he gets a good early scout on the Phoenix. That means he can prepare Spore Crawlers ahead of time, he can continue to add Queens, and as soon as the lair completes, he can probably throw down a Spire as well, starting to aim towards something of a Corrupt account here, perhaps, if he feels like Queen Spore's not going to be enough to get it done. We saw the Corruptors when he played against Max Packs, they were dying so quickly because he just got so heavily outnumbered so quickly. That's something to maybe keep our eyes on as well, right? Make sure that that doesn't come around here. As the Phoenix grab a drone off to the sides. That hatchery is going to come down onto the low ground there as the Phoenix into the main base. A couple more drones. Overlord taking a little bit of a beating as well. Some more damage being done. Void Ray is going to cancel some gases as well, so making use of that even at this stage of the game. And killing off a couple of extractors is nice. He nearly had this other one, but then he lost the prismatic, and so didn't even pull the Void away. He's lifting the Queens, obviously too many Queens nearby. It's not going to go anywhere. And as herO is looking at a transition, Spire is on the way from Serral, but the Twilight and the Forge just finished from herO and immediately charge and +1 attack, so he knows for a fact he wants to keep that tech moving along. Starts to set up a 4th base. We'll see if he can defend it from the counter-attack. I don't think so. I think that should be a pretty instant cancel. There's nothing really to be done there. And the pylon full, and we're just going to be seeing our Phoenix through this top side. The Queens are there to push the Phoenix back. Just going to see more of these Queens showing up to keep the Phoenix pushed away. Pretty much all points in time at the moment. Back in towards this base on the top. Going to see a few drones going to get returned to the mineral lines. It's going to come back around. Queen gets lifted off. In a bit of trouble. Queen is finally going to get dropped back down. Honestly, these Phoenix not finding anywhere near the success we saw them find earlier against Serral and Max Pack today. But that is, of course, a big reason because he saw it so much earlier. Being able to get on top of this immediately and quickly does so much for you. And because of that, really has minimized damage taken. I mean, look at resources lost. It's worse for the Protoss than the Zerg. Usually, even double Stargate Phoenix can find value to the point of being efficient by 1,000 resources or so. So this really has been herO struggling to find damage. And so I'll just continue to produce Roaches, Corruptors, and slowly building into that Baneling Nest as well. It's not like herO's been only building Phoenix, though. He has got tech rolling out. He finished Charge already. He starts Blink. He starts up a Robo Bay now as well. So he's progressing his own tech as well. It's important for Serral to know that because he doesn't want to overbuild Corruptors. He wants to make sure he has his own ground army that's capable of fighting too. I think I'd love to just see the Infestation Pit start making a way to that hive. And start giving yourself some options with these Corruptors outside of Chase and Phoenix. And attempting to caustic spray down bases, because if you don't give yourselves those options, that's where you're generally going to run into quite a lot of trouble here, in fact. So for now, the Phoenix Zealot Archon moves up northward, and just going to be seeing a couple of Archons, getting some shots off on some Lings to begin with as well. So some of those Lings already dropping. The Zealots help to clean out a little bit of creep spread. Now just going to be seeing our Zealots back over this way are going to be seen by the Corruptors. The Corruptors can give you a little bit of a heads up, a little bit of an accidental scout almost. Corruptors just flying overhead at the right place at the right time. They are heading to the north, and they are going to find the Phoenix here. You can see the Roaches wanting to try and find a way through, but this army is supported by Disruptors. You want to make sure those Disruptors don't get too much. If you actually have Banelings on the defense against the Zealots, here you go with this main army moving in. The Corruptors start to pick through the Phoenix and the Prism. The Disruptors do pretty well. A lot of blood spattering to the ground. Again, the Corruptors kind of just want to clear out the Phoenix and then go, because they would love to just get on top of bases, try and caustic spray them down. With a lack of anti-air, herO would struggle to ever shut those Phoenix down at that point, or those Corruptors down at that point, or even if he has Stalkers, they have to run around all over the place, and that opens a lot of different weak points for herO that Serral can maybe try and utilize, as the Disruptor shot here does a great job zoning again. Serral, remember, is down a lot of supply in army because it's just across the map in the form of those Corruptors, and they're probably going to kill the natural expansion, but when it comes to actually defending this army, not going to be of aid. The Disruptors did a great job zoning so far. This one going to be dodged pretty nicely. Bane's trying to get around the back. The Lings continue to give chase, looking for whatever Serral they can. Unfortunately, we've not gotten rid of a single one of those Disruptors. Each and every one survives. The Corruptors are coming back now. Remember, they've killed the natural expansion while we've not been watching them. That's what they were up to. That's why they've not been present in this fight at all. Serral have enough. He's getting some extra Ravagers morphed in. He's going to cancel them because he's aware of the fact that Disruptor's going to get the kill. Triple kill from the Disruptor on what was still some morphin Ravagers here. The last Phoenix go down. The Corruptors don't really have much of a use anymore. More Disruptor shots continuing, and well, herO's going to end up sitting here for a little bit and just trading out. He does have reinforcements coming through as well over here. Some more Stalkers are about to arrive into this army to really help keep things going. Here's the next attempt of a base kill from a Serral. Going to knock herO down to just 2 mining bases if he kills this one. But there's always going to be the question of how do you get rid of this army? He needs to get rid of these Disruptors, preferably before he gets any more kills. That one just got the pickup in time. I was moments away from a Disruptor just not going off at all. Serral just doesn't have enough to defend, guys. He cannot keep it going on his own side of the map. And he is going to have to fall down a game here, giving herO the 1-0 lead in this decider match. Time for some more SC2 though, as we have in the top right. Our blue Zerg player from eSports, Serral. Bottom left, our red Protoss player. This is herO. Get number 2, and Waterfall the map's already kind of a short one as herO taking that first game. Wondering what Serral will bring out to you. Obviously, this is one where you expect the Adepts, or, you know, probably Glaives, but Adepts in some form, definitely more potent, so definitely something we should immediately be looking to as a possibility or an option as to what could happen here. Something that Serral, I'm sure, will have on his mind as well, no doubt. Drone comes up, Pro continues to be nibbled. It's going to come back around main base. Let's continue to patrol for as long as possible. Oh, apart from the Pro Harass, it really is again a waiting game of seeing that Cybercore coming online and see exactly what herO will do. Of course, the size of the map can definitely promote a few things in Serral's favor as well. If he wants to be a bit more aggressive with roaches and stuff, that can be extremely potent on a map like this. So that is absolutely something that could come out here, and if this was some kind of an Adept attack, there is always then going to be that possibility of, hey, you know, this could turn into a... this could turn into a scenario where I can counterattack much more easily, much more quickly, and so you have to really be careful about the amount of Adepts you're throwing away, because if you throw away too many, 100% you're going to be starting to walk into a whole world of trouble, you know? We're moving around, just going to be seeing a couple drones coming out on the side of Serral. Queen, Ling Speed, all coming up here for the moment. And just going to be seeing our few additional drones. Continuing into production. Now a couple of Stargates coming up as well. And it is going to show us exactly what will happen here. So 2 Stargates. This time, obviously... a little bit of a different way of going, because he goes 2 Stargates immediately. Last game he went Void Ray into triple Stargate Phoenix. This could just be double Stargate Phoenix into then a transition. off of like 6 to 8 Phoenix. So you get 6 to 8 Phoenix pretty quickly. That's actually very good for you. You can, really do some good harassment with that. I even mentioned in that last game, like double Stargate Phoenix can oftentimes bring you a 1,000 resource loss advantage, sometimes more if the Zerg isn't well prepared. I have to imagine that herO is thinking along those lines here. And again, I'd be surprised if you like got +1 air weapons and like, 3 Stargates and like 20 Phoenix. Like I say, 8, 10 at most. I would imagine, especially as this Overlord moves forward, it's going to reveal a bit of what's going on, because if nothing else, the Stalker's going to go after it. Will that Stalker clear it before it sees the Stargates? I guess so. The Stargates are quite far away from the entry point of this Overlord. Second Stalker will try and make sure it doesn't see the Stargates, and it's not even going to be close, to be quite honest with you, so it doesn't really become too much of a problem. As you even see herO shading some Adepts out. Looks like he might be trying to secure the third location. Remove a bit of map control from Serral. He has got Lings on the map, more building, and a Roadtron on the way up as well. So he's not sure what this is, so you can't necessarily guarantee, he's not seen an Oracle or anything, so he's got to be aware of the potential of it just being Glaive Adepts. Let's see, we do see the Phoenix continuing through. I mean, it's possible that all these Lings can still keep the third base cancelled. That alone would be nice. Phoenix are not going to be great against Zerglings, because obviously you just don't want to lift up every single Zergling with the Phoenix lift off, because that's a lot of energy essentially wasted. And yeah, this third base is actually in some trouble, so herO will not get to this anywhere near as easily as he wants to. Yes, Serral doesn't really know what's going on, but I feel like the options are kind of being closed out on right now. What else could this really be at this stage as the Phoenix start to move, and Serral will see it now pretty much immediately. His instant response is 2 additional Queens. Doesn't have Spores on the way yet. He's going to relocate 1 in the natural. He starts 1 in the main. And so far this is 6 Phoenix. Again, let's kind of hold out to see just how many herO wants to build. There's the Forge, so already thinking of something of a transition here. Extra gates are starting up as well. As for now, the Queens are doing a very good job of just making sure those Phoenix are not going to be able to get anywhere near enough done. Fortunately, 2 gates still coming in then. The Robo facility will start on the side of herO. As the Phoenix come through, going to get a handful more drones. Picking up a little bit more damage so far, as our Queens are going to continue back out to that right side, keeping those Phoenix at bay. Giving that push back, our Roach speed starting up as well on the side of Serral. That's going to be joined in by the Evo Chamber, the couple of Overlords in production. Obviously, herO is going to continue with these Phoenix. He built 10 in the end. Like I said, I don't think that's really too crazy. Resource lost is not in his favor yet, though. These Lings have been so good on the counterattacks. Serral's just going to go cancel his third base again. If he can cancel his third repeatedly, herO is just not going to be able to afford what he wants to in this game. And that, of course, is just rough, as now we lose both the sentries. We're still going to lose a lot of these Adepts. Again, the Phoenix are just no use. At what point do you just make 2 Oracles out of the Stargates just to help you survive and to get your third base up against these Lings? These aren't special Lings either. They don't have +1 melee or anything of the sort. They're just basic Zerglings that are putting in a ton of work right now and getting a lot done. Fantastic job thus far as our Immortal about to finish up. +1 attack coming through as well. Let's come in. The Adepts force those Lings to just back off just a little bit. You can see them moving around in the center. Twilight Council, Robo Bay, Nexus as well, all continues up on the side of herO. Continues to bring that through. These Lings run over here, just going to start going after that Nexus. It is going to start dropping very quickly. Nexus is going to go down. Killed, not even a cancel, and well, this is just the absolute definition of this third game at this stage, right? It's like, oh, you try and expand, and I'm going to deny it. Serral is just not letting herO get to where he wants to. The Phoenix didn't do enough to slow Serral down. Serral's always had these Lings. And yeah, Serral's never been, like, catapulting himself forward in terms of work count, 66 to 56. He doesn't need to, because as long as herO doesn't have a third base, Serral doesn't need to be that greedy. He can absolutely win this game off of this kind of an economy. Being greedier than this just encourages your opponent to do very well if they turn this into a 2-base all-in. Another cancel. Guys, I mean, we lost the Nexus once. It's been cancelled, what, 4 times or so, the third base? It's a couple times over here, once on the bottom side. I mean, this has just been an absolute slaughter when it comes to just denying economy. And Serral just showing us exactly how you want to play against these Phoenix. Their biggest weakness? Zerglings, quite frankly. And if you can get a bit of momentum with the Zerglings, the Protoss is then always playing that catch-up mechanic of, well, I got to get back into this. Well, I got to, get going again. And those sort of things really do add up. Those are the sort of things that really do just, quite frankly, suck for a little while. And like I say, they take a bit of time to get fixed as we have our Temple Archives now coming down into the natural expansion. Just going to be seeing our few Lings running forward. Our Phoenix will lift off a Roach. Now looking to lift off another. And a Ravager. I mean, this is where the Phoenix are actually going to, make themselves really known, perhaps. But the Corruptors come in to zone them out. And so, once the Phoenix start finding some amount of decent value, they've immediately been turned away into nothing else allowed. Force field's down immediately, as just going to see our Corrosive Valves trying to drop into play. Corruptors are there, just pushing the Phoenix back, doing a pretty decent job of it. The Disruptor shot will just fire, and just going to be seeing our Roach Ravager kept at bay as well. Super Battery is going to be finishing in a few moments. I'm just going to grab the Ravager, and again, just going to be seeing Hive, Ling, Bane, +2 missiles, Baneland speed. All of this continuing up and along. And that Corruptors will start a caustic spray. It just feels as though, Serral's about to be maxed. So he's going to start putting on even more pressure, right? Serral's about to start coming at herO full force. He's going to just go, go, go. He's getting a few extra drones as well, so he can support reinforcing after attacks as well a bit more easily. And yeah, as herO's only just settled down onto a third base, you've got to imagine that holding off wave after wave of Serral in a situation like this is probably just not going to go very well for you. So let's come charging up. The Queen's getting chased away. Lings and Roaches and Banes trying to continue forward. The Corruptors getting blocked off by a cannon just a little bit. The few Archons there to help zone. As that one Phoenix going to get shot down. Disruptor shots, of course, maybe the scariest part of this game still for Serral. That is where you can lose enough army all at once to maybe swing things into herO's favor. Serral even taking up further, though. Viper's on the way, and with Abducts, you can minimize some of those Disruptor shots and really stop them from being able to finish their shots and connect. So, again, more benefit to you. Absolutely. Sounds like Corruptors come into the main base. Going to pick off that Nexus, it would seem. And, well, herO is, I think, already saying to himself that this attack must more or less win this game. You're going to see the results coming from the other side. That's a good Disruptor shot hitting a lot of units here. As the Vipers are showing up without any real energy to, utilize it at all, so not very useful, but as the Roaches and the Queens continue through, the Archon goes down, another Disruptor shot hits on just a Roach. Another Archon falls, the Sentry is going down, the Disruptor falls. Lings continue through, the Zealots are in trouble, the Corruptors are still just overhead, keeping an eye on things, and having a fantastic time of it at the moment. Everything just keeps on dying. Disruptor after Disruptor, Zealot after Zealot. And that, my friends, is Serral just overrunning here in game number 2. herO taps out, and Serral ties this series 1-1 in this decider match in the Afreeca Champions Cup. Game 3 of this series in the top right side, our blue Zerg player is going to be Serral. Taking on in the bottom left, our red Protoss player, this is herO. Game number 3 of this best of 3. Winner into the playoffs. Loser eliminated. Definitely a big game then, because obviously either of these players have the potential to move on and win the entire tournament behind this, right? So it's pretty crazy in that regard when you take that into consideration that these two now have to play in a match which will eliminate one of them. Just absolutely, truly brutal. That probe comes running around and mingling in. Gonna see what's up. See if there's anything exciting happening, as there isn't really. See that Overlord cranking out across the map and flying over some burning down buildings. It is making a bit of a burning sound as well, isn't it? It's not just burning down, it is burning down with passion. 2 games now where herO has played some kind of Phoenix style. And you've really got to question if that would continue here. A 3rd game in a row. It's inside and out as a map. That means you are playing, again, one which Adepts I would definitely say are a little bit more potent on, a little bit more probable on. It could be time to just bring back out the Stargate though and the Oracle, and really just go a bit more standard into some blink pressure. I guess a big part of it really depends on how herO feels he can play against Serral. Does herO feel like he can just do a standard game against Serral, or does he feel like he needs the edges that these slightly quirky builds give him to just kind of potentially push through to victory? I don't think he'll be thoroughly afraid of a straight-up game, but I think there's a lot of advantages to playing something that's a bit, like I say, quirkier, a bit different, catching Serral a bit off guard. Taking away one of Serral's biggest strengths, which is his just ability to be prepared for a lot of different situations. Take that away, and obviously Serral, I don't want to say struggles, that's not really true, but if you take that away, Serral definitely comes around and Serral definitely comes around and ends up being a little bit weaker, right? Having to, I mean, he's always been good at responding as well, don't get me wrong. Serral's, it's tough to say his weakness, but Serral's usually so good at knowing all the things he should do in certain scenarios and not being caught off guard, so I feel like something like this just glaives into 3 gates is very much so on the scale of things that Serral should be able to deflect easily, especially with a scout. It's going to be 4 gates, not 3, so we'll see. Kind of a throwback to the herO game we casted about, what, an hour ago or so. 3 gates. Just going to be having our road drone. Our feelings continuing up, and our Adepts will get through that to pick off a drone already. He's just going to knock that straight down. As our lings continue to produce out, road drone continues in. And we have got ourselves the extra Adepts still coming through again. This is all going to be without the robo facility. What happened against Reina was he added this robo facility on and then had a reinforcement Adept attack, which obviously came with the Prism. And then eventually ended up on the Robo Bay and Disruptors, so we'll see if that will be true here for herO once again, or if he wants to mix it up perhaps. Serral, currently Ling Roach production. 38 drones seems to be the number that most players are stopping at, 38 to 40. Make this round of units and just get ready to protect against the Adepts, as more Adepts are warping in, but back at home. Hard to make a read on this as Serral as to, I guess, how committed it is, how many gates there are. You don't see a robo, so maybe you expect this to, you know, loosen up in the near future, but he's still making units, so he's definitely taking this very seriously. The 3 Roaches all become Ravagers. They have the bit of extra range to fight the Adepts. As long as the Adepts don't get shade cleanly on top of those Ravagers, the Ravagers shouldn't be in any trouble. And here you go, you can see the Adepts being chased back by the Ravagers a little bit. High damage output. Whoa, the Ling's going to get a very good surround here as well. This is really nice because you actually cleaned this out before the reinforcing Adepts got there. That was still the initial 6 Adepts. 5 died. The rest of the Adepts were back at home. They never really reinforced. They were trying to hide away and maybe be a bit more of a surprising, you know, appearance. And as the Adept shading back and a few things going down, maybe this is going to start going badly for Serral. I feel like he's going to start losing units. Like he didn't really need to. This Ling Ravager force could have stayed comfortable and healthy. And what did he kill in the process? 2 more Adepts? Yeah, it definitely lost a lot more than 2 Adepts were valued at, so unfortunately for Serral, that one does not quite go his way. Adepts just going to continue to move on through, making their way in toward the natural expansion. So in they go over there with that, and just while that happens, you're going to be seeing the couple Queens and Ravagers continue to chip their way through. This set of Adepts as well as just continue to break through that. So trying to get out of a supply block as well. 3 more Overlords on the way. Loses 3 drones. Can he deal with these Adepts? He had to surround there for a moment, but not enough Lings to keep this going. The Evo Chamber block to try and minimize the, ability to get in here with these Adepts. Only loses 4 drones, but obviously a lot of chaos that will disrupt his mining quite heavily. As the Roaches, the Queens, the Ravagers pull back toward the natural. Adepts continue up to the top left. Just going to be seen again. Baling Nest, melee upgrade, roach speed, all of that continuing through for the moment. It's going to be seen how Overlords are collecting at the front, and as the OVs collect at the front, I'll just have them actually providing the supply that Serral needs to produce units, because he was supply blocked. Nice to see him having the units he needs now. 6 additional gateways, charge is done, so it's going to turn into Adepts in charge lots. As we look to try and cancel the 4th base, here again some revenge for his, what was an infinitely delayed 3rd base in that last game, it felt like. And again, because of the size of the map, the Adepts are only ever a shade away from making it back home. His own 4th base finishing up here, and Serral definitely shook a little bit. Again, was supply blocked momentarily there, so just little things that, usually Serral doesn't make mistakes in, definitely starting to come through just a little bit right now. Adepts continue around. They will knock down this hatchery, so it will fall. It's going to be seeing the Adept shading back through to the left side. And again, just look for that 4th base again and again. Now, about to have Zealots and Immortals on the right side. There are Banelings wolfing in. They're not ready yet. They are somewhat of a necessity right now, else they might just be in a little bit too much trouble. So Zealots continue through here. The Banes actually do blow up on a lot of the Zealots, however, and maybe here again a little bit ahead of himself on this fight. He was warping into the main, and there it is. The Zealots are all in there, so they are going to cause chaos too. Is it going to be enough to do some serious damage? Will herO be happy with this investment of Zealots? It's so difficult for Zealots to not be worth that, worth that kind of money in the mineral lines. As 10 more warp in, we're going to have a Disruptor already producing. In fact, 2 Disruptors producing back at home, so that's going to continue out. Some Roaches continue through, a couple of Zealots still taking damage. Again, 11 drones being knocked down here. As our Zealots will come in and just going to be seeing a couple of drones being chipped away at. There's lots of Immortal left to the front. It definitely is still kind of a... I mean, Serral holds, right? Like, don't get me wrong, he's taking a lot of worker damage, etc., but he holds. It's not going to be easy having to play against Disruptors and so on from now. As our +2 attack, our Prism speed is all on the way up. A few Zealots continue to come on in, just the probes to wrap around and pick off a Zergling. Roaches will sit here and just intercept these Zealots as we push those away again. Gravitic Drive on the way out now is just going to be having the Prism speed. Will allow you to be a bit more aggressive with the Disruptors. You don't get why Serral doesn't research range upgrades. I think probably because he doesn't really want to be playing the Roaches for the majority of this game, and there's a lot more value to be had in the melee upgrades, typically. And the problem is, he obviously, right now, would love to just start +2 melee. I mean, he could do, he has the money for it. He's just forgetting to. That would be the better upgrade for him right now. Once you hit +2 melee, then typically missile upgrades become a better option again as you move later in the game, but melee upgrades are just a priority over the missiles. The Roaches are here for a bit of sturdiness. The melee upgrades go a long way because obviously you can use them to one-shot probes on counterattacks with the Banes and stuff. You clean out these Zealots pretty quickly. So that round of Zealots goes down pretty quick. Just going to be seeing our Banes, our Lings, our Ravagers continuing through, +2 melee. Still producing on the side of Serral. And we'll see our Disruptors firing forward. First one connects on a little bit of creep spread. Next one fires and connects on a couple of Ravagers. Serral's numbers are still up in terms of supply, but his worker count is down. He would really need an attack here that also takes down a bit of eco. Obviously, he's struggling to keep his 4th base up, so this has really been a series that's been a battle of bases, right? 4th base of Serral in this game, the 3rd base of herO last game. As long as those additional bases don't go online, I think we're going to find ourselves in probably some continued trouble. To begin, come on through. He's going to see Disruptor shot firing, hits a Baneling, couple of Zealots going in after those Ravagers as well. Bane's still making their way forward, hitting into a few of these Stalkers. A few Stalkers going down, our Roach is still firing up a bit of a storm. Mortal's going to get taken down here, Stalkers blinking forward again. Serral's just not going to have enough at all. GG and good luck. herO makes a double Protoss advancement out of this group of death. And Serral will fall alongside herO in this group. And that will be how everything comes to play in that what was truly a ridiculous group here in